How's it going, guys? Just a market update, and as you guys have seen recently, we've been getting some altcoin moves to the upside, which is a excellent signal considering the timing of things. January previous bull market was the start of the altcoin season, and as my previous videos suggested, potential altcoin bottoms have been put in. And I did say that, there was a potential for Bitcoin to revisit the 80s region, and to be honest, that's still not out of the question. Looking for this one retest on the tether dominance chart. There might be another drop here. However, it doesn't mean that the altcoins will fall below their current lows. Should the USDT dominance not go to 1 and starts to trend above the 1618, there is potential for something similar to this left side here, whereby the measurement of this fib from here to here is the new level, and continuation of this downtrend of the tether dominance all the way down to 3.24%. So that is something worth noting when analyzing tether dominance in correlation with the wider market and Bitcoin mainly itself. So moving on to BitTensor. BitTensor has been following a trend that I have expressed previously, akin to Cardano's bullish trend previous cycle before sending to new all-time highs, and approximately around the same period as we're seeing currently, right? Let's go to the Cardano chart, and in January 1st, I'll mark it here. We're actually in January 4th. Cardano is a lot further along with the trend, and we are sort of trailing behind as we are in January 4th right now, right? We are currently looking like we're still in the early phases of this trend, potentially showing weakness. However, the timing of things aren't always exact cycle to cycle, but in general, around the same period, we would be potentially experiencing the same types of price appreciation or depreciation. Generally during the summer period, we'll see a lull in price action. So after that end of March period, there might be more sideways or down action in the market. So what I'm expecting from this point on is potentially upside for altcoins for at least the next 40 to 50 days, right, from the initiation of this rally. So we're looking mid to late Feb at a minimum. Maybe I'm just gonna throw that out there as my base case, and the altcoins going up and away, hopefully to new all-time highs. In terms of how Bitcoin will impact price action here, we're looking at Bitcoin going around in this level, whereby it might hit the rebound zone here and potentially go back down to reset that one level, or we might see more chop sideways and a final push to the upside. Oftentimes in the final phases of the bull market, should we get a end of Q1 type of finish, there often is a large final impulse wave, as seen at the end of the fifth wave of Elliott waves in I guess, really bullish trends. So the first, third, fourth, fifth, right? Where it's a tricky one where it may go up, but it may go down. Any average entry within this range, however, would be a good type of entry to sell off a bit higher into the mid hundreds, in my opinion. So when we go back to the tether dominance, we may hit one. However, we're a bit far away from it now. So the best method, if you are completely sidelined and Bitcoin is the kind of safe, well, obviously the safer play, and less risky play if you believe in crypto, would be to DCA, right? DCA in the next 2 or so weeks, and if it goes lower, great, you get a better average lower entry. If it goes a bit higher, then you still get an average entry within the range before it goes upwards. Stops below, the 80 region. Let's have a look at something else. Give me a sec. Something curious as well is the price action of other altcoins. I know that at the moment BitTensor has a similar structure to, what do you call it, Cardano previous cycle, but I remember trading OGN in the previous cycle, and the actual structure is very similar to what we see in WorldCoin, which is another AI play, right? As you can see, there's like a range here, a slope up, and a breakdown into the base of this range, right? Hopefully that is sort of clear. And when we've based out in January, we start to push into the end of Q1. So around the April range is where this is marking, right? And that's why I say like the mid-range here Feb is sort of my lower end of how far this rally is going to push, and perhaps that's the first section where you would start to take profit if there is a massive rally. But as it stands at the moment, if we're starting our move to the upside, we could be seeing a large move in altcoins over the coming months. And if you are more risk on, going into altcoins is probably the better play here, and Bitcoin might be ranging a lot more before it goes higher. Or in a very bullish scenario, Bitcoin does break this all-time high and rushes towards that 150 to 180k region to end off this cycle, and aligning with all things such as my analysis on the S&P 500. This is actually a fractal that I drew from this circle. I didn't realize I was going to go in a very similar way, but like I've been saying, my case for the S&P 500 and possibly what marks the cycle top is hitting between 6.3 to 6.4 thousand. It might deviate above slightly, but as it approaches this range, or that range, the risk is starting to increase quite substantially when it comes to being exposed to the market. And if you watch my previous videos on S&P 500, you understand exactly what I mean by this measurement of the 2618. It's a very large measurement that has been taken from previous moves. I'm just trying to think of what else we need to look at the moment. The bond market has actually gotten stopped here at this rebound zone, which is the 0.618 of this range. And generally with the bond market signaling a potential rollover, it aligns with, and it doesn't signal like the exact top of the market, but it's a warning sign that there is potential downside that may be coming, right? I'll put the markets. Oh, actually, let's add SPX to this chart. Cool. Hopefully we can see this. Nice. As you can see, during COVID, there was already a downtrend, and only when it started to accelerate was when, yeah, that COVID crash started. And during the Great Financial Crisis, it sort of made a shoulder here and was already on the downtrend, signaling that, you know, it's leading into the collapse of the stock market. And in the dot-com bubble, we actually saw the bond market go down at a very, you know, well, it started to go down first before the actual top of the S&P came in. And that might be what we're seeing at the moment. We're already sort of trending down and getting stopped here at the rebound zone. Unless we recapture this rebound zone or the 0.618 and break above that 5.2% region, there is a very strong likelihood that there's a rollover here that pushes down. And once that acceleration starts to occur, I assume it will probably be, you know, somewhere in the region of the 6.3 to 6.4k region of the S&P 500, and that all aligns sort of with a potential, you know, end of Q1 type top for Bitcoin as well. So all these things are starting to align, and you know, once those signals start to show at the same time, we see $150,000, $160,000 Bitcoin, we see S&P 500 at 6.3k, we see the bond market starting to roll over. That should be a warning sign, and we see the alt season starting to really rip into new all-time highs. You know, considering risking off at that point once those points of confluence start to align, really good idea. Other than that, I think that is all for today. Hopefully some of that has been helpful. Leave comments below if you have any questions. Cheers.